Hello, gorgeous, and welcome to the Women on Top podcast. I'm your host, Valerie Lynn, and with over 15 years of business experience, I became truly passionate about finding ways to support and hear from way more women. And what we know to be true is that women thrive when they are in their favorite position, on top. On top in business, in relationships, in personal growth, and on top in being real and authentic to who the hell they are. So I invite you to sit back and enjoy the Women on Top podcast. Welcome to the Women on Top, everybody. I am your host, Valerie Lynn, and today we have Lisa Chamberlain on the show. And I'm just so excited for this conversation. It's going to be so good. I'm so glad you're here, Lisa. Lisa is a Los Angeles-based beauty expert. She's a celebrity makeup artist. She's a proud cat mom. And she is the founder of Lisa Chamberlain Beauty and Salon Monet. Lisa, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that beautiful intro. I love it.
And so you have both of these businesses, and I really just kind of want a little bit of the origin story. So can you kind of talk about your journey from, just discovering that this was your passion and then opening both of these businesses in Los Angeles?
So it's crazy for how much I've done for only being 25. But, so like my origin story is just wild. So when I was in 8th grade, I had a best friend, like we all do. And her older sister, who was a senior, who you don't talk to when you're in 8th grade, came into our room one day when we were like, who knows, playing with Barbies on the floor. And she was like, do you want to do my makeup for prom? And I was like, what? And she was like, your makeup always looks so pretty and natural. And I thought, okay, sure. I've never done someone's makeup before. So I did Megan's makeup for prom. Then from there, whenever we had a school dance, all my friends wanted me to do their makeup, which I was always the one in the back of the limo, like doing my own makeup on the go because I couldn't get myself ready because I was getting everyone ready. And growing up, a lot of my friends got married young. So then it progressed to their wedding. And I was in college at the time studying classical piano performance, which is all like very detail orientated, a lot of memory. And after 3 years, I pivoted and went to the Aveda Institute in Minneapolis to study cosmetology. That was a year-long program. It was like 1,550 hours in 10 months. It was very intense. Like you could only miss 2 days of school. I, after that, worked at a salon for a few years as an apprentice and then on the floor. So after a few years of that, I decided to move out to LA and be here. This past Christmas, when I was cutting and coloring my mom's hair, she mentioned to me like, oh yeah, your great grandpa was a barber, but his dad was a barber too. So you're third generation from Hungary. And I was like, and you guys were so worried about me all of college. Like Lisa doesn't know what she's going to do with all her creativity. I'm like, you telling me after I've been a professional, like I've had my license for 15 years and you're telling me now that it goes back another generation. So I have my aunt emailed me all of the paperwork of my great-great-grandpa coming over on the ship, putting down he's a barber. He had a shop in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. So it's definitely in my blood. And I just grew up cutting my mom's hair, my dad's hair, my sister's. I just started cutting in like 7th grade.
Yeah, this is like deep in the roots of your family origin. Just actually really special and sacred, I feel like. So do you feel like this also, because you are an artist in so many ways, you have, you've been a painter. I think you still paint.
I paint. So like art was my first medium. That was my first love. When I was 3, my mom has pictures of me painting and drawing. Growing up, I entered every coloring contest and every art contest. I designed all the school yearbook covers. I was the school newspaper artist. So I would illustrate pictures to like the articles. And then I was like in the state fair, the Minnesota State Fair like contest. I would always enter my art. So I think that makeup just came natural to that because for me, it's all mixing and blending and setting and finishing. And so a lot of times people will say like, how did you learn how to do, deep skin or, Asian or just different races?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at them, I'm like, I didn't learn. Like it's color theory. You just match.
Yeah.
You prep the skin, you match, you mix it. And like people would be like, you matched it the best it's ever been. And to me, it's just all about color theory. I've never really seen it as light or dark, but just kind of making it work and seamless. So I definitely think because of my art background, and I'm tapping more into art for 2026 as well, which is so exciting.
Okay, before we dive into like what's on the docket for you for
Oh my gosh.
2026, I
Yes.
want to know like, you know, coming to LA and starting this from the ground up. That just
Mhm.
sounds really hard. I mean, LA is like not for the faint of heart, right? Like this
No.
is a place that is just immersed with all the creatives and all the people trying to make it. And so I really want to know what that journey was like of making the choice, like, I'm going to go to LA and do this thing. And then, what's the thing? What did you go through basically to get this off the ground?
Oh my gosh. Moving to LA was so fun because can I talk about Luke?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cousin was my roommate for 2 years when I first moved out here.
No, you're fine.
I was working at the salon and I called. Well, actually, I was at my sister Amy got married. So I was at her wedding and I was talking to Dan's mom and I said, I really want to move to LA. And she said, well, Dan just got a 2-bedroom. You should call him. And I remember I was at the salon and I called him on my lunch break in the alley. And I was like, hey, I met you once when I was younger. I think I spit up on you. We have a family photo of you holding me with throw up all over you. Like your mom says that you might have a room for me. And he was like, yeah, get out here. It's the best. Just come. And I was like, really? It just was like anything. I was like, I need a job. He was like, you could probably work at my company. And I was like, I'm going to need a car. He was like, I never drive mine. Like, he just made it very easy. And
Yeah.
like none of those things worked out, but still it got me to LA and I moved in with Dan and I call him my cousin because he's such a close family friend. So we were in Santa Monica for a while and he really helped me get off my feet and or I should say get on my feet. And when I moved to LA, I full on was like moving here to do acting. So
Mm.
I was like in every acting class, auditioning. I was working at an acting studio and I was modeling. I was doing print work and I was serving, catering. I had like 20 jobs literally. And I always did makeup and hair to pay the bills because as soon as makeup artists met me, knowing I have a hair background, a lot of makeup artists in LA don't have the cosmetology license. So they would hire me as their assistant and have me do the hair because they were like, I need this job. I don't know how to do the hair or I don't want to do the hair.
Right.
I'll do the makeup, you do hair. So I had a lot of work my first 5 years in LA just assisting other artists, making ends meet, and then going off and doing my music, performing and acting and auditioning and going to class. So that was kind of how I got my start. And then just having a lot of different jobs. Like it's not for the faint of heart. And then I ended up emailing a lot of agencies saying, hey, like if I can assist your artist, let me know. I'm a hair and makeup artist in LA. So I think I was on maybe 10 different agency lists in LA in my mid 20s to later 20s. And then one of the agencies that I really liked, and I really liked the jobs and the artists, they had a lot of kind of like last minute jobs pop up. And after assisting them for a year, they were like, hey, can you go do this job? And it went really well. So then after a few times of that, they said, like, can we put you on the website to try to book you more work? Which at like 27, I didn't know that meant having like agency representation.
Yeah.
I love my agents. I've been with them for a decade. They're just so amazing. And it just happened organically.
Was that like the hardest part of your experience so far, or what has been the hardest season that you've had to go through getting to where you are? Because I think it's important to talk about. I don't want to, belabor somebody's misery necessarily, but I
No,
think, so often we just hear people who have made it and done it and it might sound pretty easy, and I like to just go through it and like what was the most challenging part of you building your businesses?
I definitely think, I mean, I still have challenges. It's never, I don't feel like I've made it or I'm there, but I definitely feel more stable and enjoy what I've built this year. But it took so long to be able to enjoy it, but then also not have the guilt of being like, oh, I have like a pretty chill week. And I want to try to make it harder than it needs to be. If that
Mm.
makes sense. So,
Talk
like,
more about that, the guilt
like
part. Yeah.
like can't believe I'm going to yoga at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like you're kind of late.
Mm.
Shouldn't you be working? And it's like, well, I worked all weekend, so like my work hours are so different than other people. And so a lot of times I track my hours so like I can cap out. I can be like, I can dip out and be like, no, you need a break. You need a day off. You need a weekend because you just worked 60 hours. And they just look different than the normal person. But I would say a lot of the hardship that I had was probably just, not believing in myself enough, having the fear of rejection. I'm very sensitive. So if clients wouldn't rehire me or not have me back, I always was like in my head of like, what did I do? Do they not like the makeup? Do they not like the hair? Sometimes I walk off a job and I'm like, they're never going to have me again. And you just know. It's like dating where you're like, okay, that was not a good click. And learning how to still be confident and not looking social media and compare. I think that's the hardest thing is being like, oh, they got that job that I was up for. I was on hold for that. Why did they book them and not me? So there's the comparison route. And then also just I'm trying to think because I know I have a lot. I'm a perfectionist, so I know that can hold me back sometimes. And just kind of not having a clear vision of like, okay, what's the actual goal of what I'm working for? I think because I moved out here so young and I was trying to do so many different things, people didn't know how to maybe see me of like
Mhm.
who she is. But I think for my biggest fault is I just kept waiting for someone to do it for me.
Mm,
I was like, "Well, I have talent, so, like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't someone caring?" And it wasn't until the past 2 years I had to be like, "You are literally the only person that cares enough to do something
mm,
about it. No one is gonna do it for you. You
yeah,
have to get up early, and you have to do the emails. That is not gonna happen. You have to get up early and get your social media going because no one's gonna do it for you."
yeah,
As a business owner, there's no one checking in on me. I'm my own boss. So I
yeah,
can make these goals and have these elaborate, beautiful plans, and then they don't happen. And then I sit here complaining about my business. And I'm like, well, you didn't do the work. You didn't do the tiny, micro, boring work that every business has of accounting and invoicing and product ordering and all that. Like, I wear 60 hats.
right.
And so it's like,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think that's
I wanted it to be easy. I kept being like, "Well, why am I not the influencer that's blowing up? Why am I not the makeup artist that's blowing up? Why am I not getting the following and posting?" And it's like it's so easy to just be like, "I want it to be easy. I made it to LA. I survived 10 years. I'm a hard worker and I'm smart and like, why isn't it working?" And so I had to really take a step back and be like, there's so many excuses happening, there's so many pointing the fingers. I have to take ownership of where I'm at and build what I want because no one's going to do it for me. I literally have to do it. And I feel like that's been so empowering this year to step into that role.
definitely. And I feel like when you're a business owner or a creator, it's one of the biggest mirrors, right? Because you have to look at all of these aspects of yourself and not saying there's anything wrong with working the 9 to 5, but it's a different energy when you just get to show up to work and you kind of know this is what I'm supposed to do every day. And it's kind of laid out for you versus when you are the owner. Like it's up to you and that's it. And so I think you're forced to, again, look at that a lot more under a microscope than maybe most people. And especially being in LA, talk about some of your clients because I know you are celebrity makeup artist. So I want to know like what's been the most exciting experience for you? Do you have like a standout client that you've worked with where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to work with this person and they were amazing? Do you have something like that that you can share?
I mean, I'm trying to think, like people ask me that a lot of times. They're like, what's the most exciting thing you've ever done? And I definitely have career highlights. And like last week, I was featured in the W magazine as a beauty contributor because I love writing. And so I love being able to like
Yeah.
make beauty, I don't know how to say, like beauty articles, giving my advice on product and technique and the education side of that. So that was so exciting to be in like a W magazine. I work with a lot of so a lot of my clients are kind of private clientele where they're like kind of so high up that I don't really get to like take their photo or like they're the president of like a company or his wife. So like
Mm,
Fortune 500 companies where they're like this week I was getting the president of like a media group ready that like owns basically like every streaming service.
My gosh.
So I get to work with a mix of celebrity. I get to work with a mix of models. I definitely did Victoria's Secret model and we were shooting in the desert. And we did like a high pony with braids and we did a cool smoky eye. And I just remember thinking, I'm so proud of myself that I'm doing this campaign. We're in the desert and it's with like at that time, I think it was probably the biggest celebrity I'd ever worked with.
Mm,
And like getting done and having her compliment me on the makeup and just being like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Like she likes it.
yeah.
And that was really special. So the difference of like working with the celebrity advertising, personal clients, I definitely have my range of people that I work with. And I love working with my business executives because they just have such a different mindset. So I get to be in the room with the president of these companies. I hear them on their phone calls. I hear them scheduling. I hear them talking to their assistants. And so I always find that really special to be in the room with some people where I have to get like 3 levels of security client clearance to get to their room.
Wow.
And then I'm in the room with them and I'm kind of like, all right, what can I learn from what can I learn from them?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I feel like pinch me moments of the last minute job where it's like a red carpet where you get the text and they're like, "Are you available today? Can you be there in an hour?" And you're like, "Yes, I can. 1 second." And then I still get very excited when brands reach out for collaborations or they sponsor me. They fill my kit with makeup and I'm like, how is this happening? Like, how is Hourglass and Charlotte Tilbury and Maybelline like sending me PR boxes of just makeup from my kit? Like, this is so cool. And I feel like I definitely feel like that's when I was like, okay, I've made it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, okay, I made it.
Absolutely. Have you ever had to work with somebody that, was like a nightmare and just the way we think of celebrities, right? Like I'm just envisioning that some of them might not be your dream clients. And so what's that experience like?
I thought of your question. I was like, nightmare clients. If I had them, they are so out of my brain because it's turn
Mm,
and burn and I do not want that energy. I don't want to think about it.
good for you.
I was so
Yeah.
traumatized by it that it's gone. We're not talking about it. Been there. I will say when I started my younger career when I was younger in Minnesota, back then, this was before filler and Botox, like people thought you could make them look like the picture of reference. I just
Mhm.
people in the Midwest had very unrealistic expectations of what they
Yeah.
wanted. Moving to LA, I found people were a lot more chill and kind of they know exactly what they want. When I work with celebrities, I'm always very conscious of saying, "This is my first time doing your makeup. We can always go wipe it off. Like I have makeup remover, I have wipes. If something's not working, we can start over." I'm also happy to use makeup you have or, a lip that you like or I think
Mm,
like a brow. So you want people to feel so comfortable. And I'd like to say, usually it takes me 3 times to like perfect your skin, perfect exactly how you like your lips lined and everything. So your eyeliner, if one little thing is off, someone can look in the mirror and they might not be able to articulate what it is. And so I think just setting the tone of being like, hey, this is fun. It's just makeup. It's just hair. We can always change things. And giving them you're there as a service. You're providing a service. So I try to make it not as much about me, but it's about them. If it's a style they want, it might not be something that I'm like, I'm not going to post this photo because this isn't the type of makeup I want people. But if they like it, then you give them what they want. So
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to navigate like nightmare clients. I definitely think in my younger years when I started, I was in these really big production roles. And I did feel like productions were taking advantage of me because of my age,
Mm,
where they would have me getting so many people ready, hair and makeup for commercials without assistance, without help. So now being older, I know the questions to ask. I know, like, okay, well, how many hair and makeup changes are there? Are you throwing in 5 changes without telling me? Or surprise models that show up and all of a sudden you're getting 5 people ready when they told you 2. I've had more experiences of nightmare of that where it's like shady production where you're just like
mm,
they just didn't want to tell you there was a water scene because like
mm.
everyone got drenched and had to be redone. to me, that wouldn't have been a big deal. I have waterproof mascara and makeup, but just tell me. Don't tell me after and then be like, "Oh, we forgot to tell you." I'm like, "How did you forget to tell?" Like that's basic. I want the day to go smooth for the client.
Right.
So if having an assistant to help is going to speed the morning up, looking at your shot list, looking at the day, you're going to be, you're paying thousands of dollars for this model.
Right.
And you don't want to pay a few hundred for an assistant that's going to literally change the whole flow of the day. And so I've really had to, and I'm very sensitive. So I've had to learn. Like I've come home and cried before. I've come home and been, upset because the makeup and hair just didn't turn out how I wanted. It's art. Sometimes
Yeah.
I drive home and I'm looking at the after pictures, like I thought it looked good. And then I'm looking at this, I'm like, what in the world? But I think the biggest thing I've tried to learn this year is I saw a YouTube clip, or I think it was an Instagram clip of Ash Combe, who does all the Kardashians. And she was being interviewed on a podcast. And she said, it's not about me. I'm there for my clients and I have very strict boundaries and I get invited out all the time. And it's knowing when to say yes or no and how to have that boundary. And like I've been doing some clients for 10 years and they don't know my family members' names. And so just having a little bit more of changing my perspective of I'm there for a service. I'm there for them to look and feel good
Yeah.
and not taking it personal. And I can't even tell you, Valerie, like I feel like I have one of the hardest jobs in the world because you have to read the room. You show up. I could have done a client for 5+ years and they're in a totally different mood. Maybe they're fighting with
Yeah.
their husband. Maybe their business isn't doing well. You're like, okay, so today's not the day where I talk. Today's literally just me working. Or they want to hear
Mm.
about who I'm dating. They want to hear about a trip I've been on. They want to be entertained. And so you're kind of like feeling the room of being like, all right, what's the vibe today?
Wow.
And you're also in a time crunch because you got to be done at a certain time. So you're trying to like work, look at the time, talk, entertain, like it. And then sometimes I'll work with models where it's like I touch them and you're touching a stranger. You just met them 2 minutes ago. And even earlier this year, I had to take a step back for the first time in my life, take a step back from a model. And I was like, all right, what's going on? Because like I just met you and I can't do this for 10 hours. Like, did I say something? Like, I'm really
Uh,
sorry, but we need to start over because
yeah.
it's not working. And she immediately was like, I'm so sorry. I'm going through a breakup. I just moved. It's not you, it's me. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's just work together today because we have 10 hours of this and I really want this to be a good experience. So just what's going on?
Emotional intelligence. I mean, that's huge in what you do. And that's something that I think I wouldn't have thought of on the surface, which is why it's so great to get some of the behind the scenes. So that was going to be kind of my other, my other question for, the listeners who think of this beauty industry, makeup artist, and they don't realize what goes on behind the scene. We were kind of talking about this before we started recording, but can you give some of the day to day wiping sweat off of people, whatever it is that we
The
aren't
the
seeing?
request that we get, like, can you shave my armpits? No, I'm not gonna shave your armpits. The amount of things people ask me that I have in my kit, like, just I have a Mary Poppins bag in my kit of just random stuff that I know people are gonna ask me for, and then the best is when you show up to a job and people are like, "Wow, you have so much stuff," and you're like, "Yeah, that's, like, literally my job." Like, doing makeup and hair, and I'm on wheels.
Right.
And it's AM call times, it's getting up in the middle of the night where it's still dark out, it's wiping sweat down, working with talent that are very chatty, and you're just like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, learning to read the room, but then also just it's not glamorous. I can't even tell you, like, sometimes I get to jobs and I think it's bad, but the models, like earlier this year, we were shooting a campaign for summer and it was freezing out. So we're all like, I have hand warmers in my kit that I have. And, you might get to a job and you're really cold, you're on location, or you might be really hot, dying in the desert. I've had models faint before.
My gosh.
Like, had to go to the hospital because she fainted because it was so hot out, and
Oh,
or
geez.
getting to a mountain in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "We didn't think about food. We didn't bring any water." And I'm like, "It's 100 degrees out. We should probably have water." I try to always make sure I have a protein bar on me and a water bottle, so if you do get there and they don't have something provided, you're covered.
Yeah. My
But
gosh.
definitely, yes, I always say, like, my kit is probably 80 to 100 pounds, and I'm putting that in my car, going to a job, getting there. Oh, there's no elevator. Cool. Well, I need someone to help me with my luggage because I will fall down if I do it. So
Yeah.
definitely, like, you're kinda and also every job, you're at a new location. You're not driving to somewhere you go every day and you know where to park. I have to get to every job 30 minutes early because I don't know the parking. I don't know the load in. A lot of times I have to load in early, street park, walk back, set up, and we're talking at 7 AM downtown LA. I just watched a guy go to the bathroom and I'm like, I have a $10,000 makeup kit. I can't just leave it on like I have to make sure it's in the lobby with the security guard. Like it's a lot. The job has not even started yet. And then I have a
Wow.
10-hour day on set.
Okay, so what is it that makes you keep going forward then? Like, what is it that keeps you getting up at 4 in the morning?
Monet
Okay.
is what keeps me going. I get home
Yeah.
from a job and I'm like, this was for you. I did this. We
Okay.
ordered you a new cat condo. Like mom went to work today.
You are committed to Monet.
She's in her basket. She like
Oh my
we
gosh.
call this her Moses basket. It's
Look
on
at
top.
Monet. I want to hang out with Monet. Monet, I don't know if she realizes how special she is. Like, I don't know the level of pampering this.
We
Well,
clean
yeah,
her toes
anybody
off,
would love
we
that.
brush her teeth. We clip her nails. She's very pampered. She has
She's
3 different supplements that she takes morning, noon, and night.
this cat. We hope she lives forever. Long live Monet.
Truly, I tell her every day, I'm like, "I can't believe you're gonna live till you're 24, 25, maybe 30."
Good for you. Manifest that into your life. Okay.
And I'm like, You're just gonna keep going on."
Yeah. So, okay, we have to say, apart from Monet, I know it's hard to think about, but
I
what
know.
what is the reason for getting up at 4 in the morning? Like, what does this job do for your soul? Because clearly it's shifting parts of you that are pretty important.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, just regrounding myself whenever I have hard days or hard clients or, like, those hard jobs, of just reminding myself that, like, I get to work for myself. I get to be a creative. I get to paint for a living. I remind myself, like, I'm there to help people on top of doing their makeup. Like, I'm there to heal. I'm there to listen. I'm there, to make them feel better because you just never know internally what people are going through. And if
Yeah,
they need that boost of confidence or to feel pretty, or if they're going through, you just don't know what people have been going through. If they just miscarried, or if, a spouse left them, or
right.
they're in a career crisis, or they lost their job, and or different it just depends if I'm working with models or celebrities or clients. Like everyone has a different story of like what they're currently going through. So just learning how to listen and be a light and be creative. And so I remind myself on the hard moments, I say, okay, well, I get to, because I never dreamed of being a makeup artist and hairstylist. I wasn't
Yeah.
the little girl that was like, I want to be a makeup artist. Like I don't wear a lot of makeup myself. So it came my way and it just kept landing. And I was like, okay, I don't want to fight this. Like it's working. And so we should just embrace what's working. And
Yeah.
I get to paint for a living. I get to be around people for a living. I get to have different locations. I know with the way my brain thinks, I would be so bored of the 9 to 5 working at the same desk, the same place every day. Some days my office is in a warehouse down on Long Beach. Sometimes it's on a mountaintop in Malibu. So I could just get such a range. I get to travel. So I'm going to Utah in a few weeks. I was in Montana last month, and the month before I was in Colorado. So I get to travel for work. And so I have to remind myself on those 4 a.m. call times or the days where I come home and my body's throbbing after 6 days on set. And I'm just like taking a bath and laying on my heating pad because I'm a grandma, just reminding myself why I do what I do. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, such a good reminder of that freedom, like those values that just drive you forward. And to what you said, like, yourself, and this is the type of work that excites your brain and your energy and allows that artist within you to really thrive. I'm curious who you look up to in the beauty industry, like, or the fashion world or what have you. Who are some of those role models for you that have kind of helped guide you?
I definitely have a few role models as far as makeup. I still like, I love Ashcombe. She
Hmm.
does the Kardashians. She's so talented. And I love Makeup by Kelly Ann. She's in New York. She does a lot of celebrity, but she also has her own app. And so she does these like weekly uploads where she uploads new videos with like products and techniques and stuff. So I've been listening to that app and watching that app, I should say, learning from her. I love the business side of things. And a girlfriend of mine, she's like such an incredible makeup artist. And I feel like she's my mentor. So I will always text her if I have questions. So I
I love that.
definitely have a few role models in the beauty world, but I love going to art museums for my inspiration and walking around and taking in the art and looking at it and like that's where I feel the most inspired, and then sometimes I'll get subscriptions to, like, Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, flip through them just to see, like, what's going on in the beauty world. What are campaigns looking like? What is the makeup style looking like? So, those are
Yeah.
little ways.
I love what you said about the museums too and like
Yeah.
art, getting inspiration from different places. And I think sometimes we forget that. Even just as humans, we walk through life. And I feel like I could do a better job of that. Of like, gosh, where do I get my inspiration? And how can I tap into that more so that that creative side of my brain can kind of open up a little bit?
I was even talking to someone on my team this week about it, and they were like, "You're so good at always seeing your friends and your family and making time for travel because that is so good as an
Yeah.
artist and a creative to make time to nourish your soul." Because on top of, like the long hours and just the working conditions you might not know, everything is just so feast or famine in this industry. Like you might have a really busy month and then a slow month. So you just have to find ways to ground yourself and be inspired. And I love my family and I love my friends. So like making time for them is so special.
Yeah.
And sometimes I say no to clients and sometimes I say no to jobs because I feel like I'm maxed out. And
Yeah.
if I can't show up and perform my job well, I'd rather say no and not make that money, but still keep that relationship. I'm like totally at a 0 and I'm
Mm-hmm.
depleted. There's no point of showing up and not having a good impression because then you'll never see that client again. So I think a lot of it is having that
Yeah.
knowing when to say no when you're maxed out, listening to your body, taking that bath, turning your phone off, but then also knowing, okay, I need to see my family because like
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing this. This is what like why this matters,
Yeah.
So
That's such a huge point that you just made of like making sure we tap into what our needs are and kind of ultimately
mhm.
taking care of ourselves in that way.
Like if I get home from a job and I feel like I've overshared to a client or I'm dumping on a client and I'm being negative, then that's where I'm like, okay, I need to go on a walk. I need to journal. I need to listen to a sermon. I need to go to church. I need to figure it out. I need to go to hike. Cause like we're not just showing up to do makeup or showing up to make people feel good too. So if I'm not
Yeah.
feeling it, if I'm not in a good space spiritually, emotionally, physically, I'm not going to show up for my clients well. So like my self-care, I on my days off, it's so
Yeah.
sacred because I'm an artist as well. Like I think we forget as makeup artists that like we're creatives. We're also working with other creatives. Everyone has a very different way to express themselves creatively.
Yeah. I like what you said about the energy piece. Like, but I think especially as a makeup artist, probably that applies so much more. What?
How do you find inspiration for yourself, like for your work?
I do a lot of writing. So I just have, always been a journal person. And even more so, I started doing the artist way. I think you saw that.
Yep.
So that
I've
really
done it
has encouraged
3
me.
times.
You've done it 3 times. Oh my gosh. It's been really good and really enlightening and kind of forces you to look at your creative side differently. And so writing for sure, I think movement, walking is super helpful for me. Listening to music, like yeah, there's different elements of that. Sometimes it's socializing, but sometimes I have to honestly be like a hermit, just go within and like shut out the world. So
Yes.
it just
The
kind of
older I
depends.
get, the more hermit-like I am. I'm like, I just need to be alone.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's I was just thinking, I'm like, is this a healthy thing? Like, I hope that the time I want to spend to myself is okay. It doesn't mean I'm going crazy. So right now I'm wondering these are just kind of like random questions about beauty and makeup, but what's a product that you're just loving right now that you feel like you can't live without?
Well, that's such a good question. I love that question. Let me think. I currently love the Maybelline lifter liners. These are their lip
Oh,
liners. They're just so creamy and, like, so easy to use,
I love it.
and I love them.
I never, like, knew about lip liner until I was much older, and I
Mhm.
always thought, like, "This is not for me, I shouldn't be wearing." I don't know why, I just
Yeah.
and then you actually have someone apply it, and it doesn't have to be, like, dramatic, it can just be very subtle, and it's like, that makes a big difference, like, I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Whenever I wear lip liner, people are like, "Did you get your lips done?" Or I also love the Maybelline Sky High mascara. They just came out with a new colossal one that I wanna try. I haven't tried it, but I've seen good things on TikTok, and I think it's a TikTok exclusive, like, you can only buy mascara on TikTok. I like Maybelline. I really like, Giorgio Armani, the Luminous Silk. That's what I have on today, the foundation. I also have Armani
Looks so good.
blush on. They're like
Okay.
liquid, they're tinted blush, they're cheek tints. I
It's
love
so, like,
Hourglass.
nice. It's not overdone it's, like, so glowy and natural, but, oh, it looks so good.
I love it, and then I have Hourglass on. I love Hourglass. I just feel like they have such good, like, soft, radiant bronzers and highlighters, and I have a little Charlotte Tilbury glow. I love Charlotte Tilbury. So I feel like for my luxury products, I like Charlotte Tilbury, I like Hourglass, and I like Armani Beauty as far as luxury, and as far as, like, drugstore, I'm a big L'Oreal girl, I'm a big Maybelline girl, NYX, like, I have mix of high and low in my kit, like, especially lip liners, I like to have a lot of, like, cheaper lip liners so I can just, like, give them to clients at the end of a service if they need it for their red carpet. I'm
That's
like, "Here you
nice.
go, I'll
Yeah.
just buy another one, it's like $5 versus."
Only had time to do, like, one thing on your face as you wake up, what's the one thing you're gonna do?
Like, go get the product.
No, just, like, makeup-wise, like, you wake up and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have to rush out the door. I only have time to put on one," like, whether it's lipstick or mascara, whatever, what's
Always it changes in the seasons.
okay. So
Sometimes it's
today, what
Sometimes it's mascara because 'cause I'm like, "I need to wake my eyes up. I just need to look awake," and because I am so light-skinned, my lashes are so light, so, like, I need that definition. Sometimes it's my brows. I'm like, "I need to anchor my face," but my go-to, if I'm gonna do one thing, I have the Color Science Flex SPF, and it has SPF 50 in it. It's the best thing ever. The Armani foundation is kinda like what it looks like, and it is most days like, I knew I was gonna be on camera, so I used, like, a proper foundation, but if I'm just around the house, but I want some coverage and to bring life into my face, I bring the SPF, Color Science, the Flex. I love it. I just love
okay.
it.
We're gonna have to tag all these products in the show notes
Yes.
for everybody.
Like, you don't have to use a lot of makeup either. Like, you don't have to you can do, like, a great face and with 5 products, 5-minute face, just
Okay, give us your 5-minute face. What do we need?
sunscreen.
You're telling me right now because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Sunscreen tint, so that's basically your foundation, a little
Okay.
concealer, plus 2, a mascara, and
Okay.
then a little blush, and then it's hard. 5 would either be lip gloss or, like, a brow lift.
Huh.
I like a good brow lift, like, it because it kinda gives your face a facelift.
Mm,
So, those are kinda, like, my 5 go-to products or 6, I guess you could say 6 products where it's like, you can do a lot with that.
yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good for the
Or, like,
simple
sometimes if I'm, like, in a rush, I'll use the same blush, like, on my lips or my eyes and, like, kinda connect it all together. So, it doesn't have to be
that's a good
full
tip.
face, and I love when I meet with clients too, and I, like, will teach makeup lessons. I'm like, "Well, show me what you have because you don't need to go out and buy a whole new makeup kit. You might just be missing, like, an eyelash curler and an angled brush, or you might be missing a cream bronzer, and that could really change your makeup routine." So I always try to utilize what people currently already have and then find a few things they're missing where I'm like, "Okay, we need to bring more cream products in because as we age, the cream products sit nicer. The
Oh,
powder likes to sit in lines, so cream is just softer." And also, I think it's important to talk about that, like, as we age, makeup can it's less is almost more. So, like, less makeup will make you look younger, It's also like not a bad thing to wear makeup because naturally as we age, we lose pigment in our lips. Our lips start fading. Our faces start fading. We don't have that natural glow, that cheek, that pink in our face. We start getting washed out. Our brows get lighter. Our under eyes get more, our eyes sink in and get more hollow. So for me, it's like I'm almost preserving, like I use my makeup of like trying to preserve what I looked like in my early 20s. Because it is true where I would look in the mirror, I'm like, wow, my brows are getting so much lighter. And so that's kind of how I view beauty is just bringing out your inner beauty. It doesn't have to change necessarily what you look like.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that piece because I was going to ask you earlier in the conversation, didn't get to it, but just like, how do we make sure that this doesn't become a toxic culture thing for the identity of women? Because I think so often, even like, our parents' generation, they always had makeup on. And now we're starting to see like Pamela Anderson and people like that who are showing up more without makeup. But like, how do we make sure we shift that so that women still feel confident without it?
Yeah, I think it's such a good question. I definitely think that Gen Z and this tick and being on I definitely think being Gen Z, like have like such a more natural glam. I think that beauty has scaled back a lot as far as makeup, and it's totally normal to like not have makeup on. And you don't need the full face with the contour and the heavy powder and like changing how you look, changing your nose, changing your cheeks, like just being kind of natural beauty and enhancing what you already have and the features you already have. So I definitely think that it's more of a reminder that yes, makeup does make you feel confident. There are studies that come out that show that make women that wear makeup make more money. I don't know if you saw that circulating on Instagram recently, and it's like it's not because they're prettier. It's the confidence that you get when you wear it. And for me, I just feel sloppy when I'm not put together. Even if I don't look in the mirror, I still like to have my mascara on
Yeah.
or a little blush or anything because I feel more confident wearing it, but I don't necessarily need it. But I like the confidence that I get with it. I also love the creative expression that makeup can give and hair. Like slicking your hair back, you become a different person. Putting that red lip on, I'm always like, who is she? Where did that come from? Or you're just spicy, you're sassy, you do a fun color to match your dress. It's such a good way to express yourself of being like, now you can wear glitter, you can wear eyeliner, you can wear color. Like there's just so many ways. There's no wrong way to do makeup now. So if you want to wear a red lip, wear a red lip and you can, and it's going to bring out a different side of your personality than you're used to. And I
Yeah.
just love the creativity behind it, and I love that it can literally change your mood and alter you.
Yeah.
So and it's
Yeah.
not permanent, it's not a tattoo, you just wipe it off at the end of the night. It's
Right.
fun.
Yeah. I think that's important that you touched on that because it is meant as a tool for that. And if we remember that and can use it that way, then that can be really healthy and I think fun and everything it's meant to be. I think it's when people rely on it for their self worth, like you said, that's when it gets to be a problem. And so it's nice to see that balance happening with this next generation. And I'm just so glad for, all the insight that you've provided. And I feel like there's just so much that we could keep talking about, but I'm so grateful for everything that we've shared. I want to just end on a couple things, but this last thing of just, I'd love to have you finish the sentence. It just is beauty is, and whatever you'd like to add to that.
Oh my gosh, that is so interesting. I think beauty is you authentically yourself. Just
I
to
love
be
that.
authentically you. And I
Yeah.
think that the more inner work that you do on yourself, the more you take care of your body, your mind, your soul, whether it's journaling, walking, hiking, yoga, reading, journaling, all the inner work we do as creatives and entrepreneurs and business owners and being so kind to people and doing the things behind the scenes that you don't post on social media. The time that you spend with your neighbor that's elderly, the time that you take someone's trash out for them because they're sick, or you go to the grocery store for a neighbor, like the things that you do that are not blasted on social media. I think that kindness and being genuine comes through. And to me, that's beauty. like where you get to know someone and you're like, wow, they have a really good heart. They're so beautiful. I think that you could be a really mean person and pretty, not, it's not going to feel pretty to be around you if you're mean. And
Mm,
no amount of makeup can hide that.
yeah.
So I'm very big on like natural beauty, radiating your inner glow, and making sure that like your spirit is aligned with you and what you are living to do. And I think that when you're aligned with that, that your inner beauty just thrives and shines. And then it makes my job a lot easier because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're so naturally beautiful. We just need a little of this and a little of that, and they're good to go.
I love what you said, radiating their inner glow. That's so
That can be
beautiful.
beauty is radiating your inner glow. That's my one word.
That's awesome. I think that's so well said. And it speaks to who you are as well, as does everything that you've shared in this podcast. So, as a tradition that we do on this podcast, I have the previous guest leave a quote or a reflection for the guest I'm going to interview next, not knowing who it is. So, I'd like to just share with you the reflection that was left for you and then give you the opportunity to do the same.
To leave a reflection.
It can be anything, just like anything that's coming to you, anything that you feel like sharing with whoever I interview next, and of course for all the listeners too. But okay, so my last guest shared, she said, ask yourself every day, not why am I in this room, but why shouldn't I be in this room? Why not? Why not me? So I loved that.
I love
And
that.
I'd love to hear
You're
what
gonna
might
have
be
to
coming.
send me that so I can think about that.
I will. It was really profound for me too, which is, I always say this, but it's become a really great tradition for the podcast because I get to hear all of the reflections everyone's leaving and I always need to hear them. So happy to share that. And I'd love to hear whatever you're thinking of, whatever might be coming to your heart that you'd like to
Yeah.
share.
I definitely think I always kind of center myself on like, what do you love? Like, are you doing what you love? Do you feel aligned? And what I've been really meditating on these past few months is that your words are powerful and your words bring life and your words have so much power behind them. And it's also the words in your mind too, not just what you're saying, but how you're speaking to yourself and how you're thinking. And so I always like to meditate on your words have power and how are you using them? And whether it's vocal or in your head or how you're talking to yourself, what the narrative you're telling yourself and the story you're telling yourself. So I always like to think too of what what would you say to your best friend? Like how would you talk to your best friend? And is that how you're talking to yourself? Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to. Like, are you having fun? I've had seasons where I'm doing makeup and hair and I'm just like miserable. Like, have to remind myself, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Are you having fun? And if you're not, how can you make it fun?
Yeah, I think it's so critical too. I've been reflecting on that more lately is like, how can I have more joy in my life? And how can I make sure that I'm focusing there? Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast today. Thank you so much for spending time with me and just all the light that you bring. You are always just you really are a bright light. And I just feel like you emulate that with others. You really just love hard on people. And I think that's really felt through the screen here today. So thank you so much, Lisa. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. You're so sweet, Valerie.
Thank you for tuning into the show today. And before you go, I just have one quick favor to ask of you. There is a really simple way that you can help support me and help support this show, and that is to hit that follow button on whatever app you're listening to the show on. I'm trying really hard to level up the content and deliver unique value and amazing guests, and just hitting that follow button is the magic that will help continue to empower that. And remember that the world deserves to hear your voice and your stories, and you deserve a place at the top.